Hi, this is Teo from PocketBlocks.com. Today I'm going to review two sets of Japanese watercolors. One is the Kissho Gansai set. This has 18 half pens. The other is the Kuretake 12 full pen set. So these two pen sets are actually quite similar. Let's see if there are any differences. On the left is the Kuretake Gansai Tambi set, and on the right is the Kissho Gansai set. They are pretty similar, except this is full pen, this is half pen. However, you can buy both of them either in full pens or half pens. Kuretake would be the more well-known brand, Kissho would be the, say, less well-known brand. Anyway, a few days ago I made a video saying that this set is Kuretake, and that is not true. That's why today I have to remake this video. These two sets are made in Japan. Gansai means Japanese watercolor and Tambi means aesthetic, but for the Kissho set it's just Kissho Gansai. This is Gansai Tambi. The pen sizes, well, these are half pen sizes. Now compared to American and European pen sizes, this is almost 2 times the size. So you can see here that this pen size is almost 2 times this pen. But the pens are not filled to the brim, so this is actually more like half filled. So in terms of capacity, I would say that they are quite similar. However, for the full pen size here, you can see that this is much larger. But when you finish using the colors, you can maybe use your tube pins and squeeze it inside. And you can fill it to the brim and it will hold a lot of paint. Let's talk about the packaging. For Kuretake and Kissho, usually they are sold in cardboard boxes like this, and usually the pen sizes will be full pen. I managed to find a plastic palette box set for the Kissho on Amazon Japan, and the main reason why I bought this is because of the palette box. This is very compact. There are 5 mixing wells, so you can bring this around in your bag quite conveniently. Also, there are some empty spaces, so you can put in additional pens if you want to buy them separately. However, the individual pens, I think they are a bit difficult to find them, so you might want to check online. Anyway, if you want to buy this Kissho plastic palette set, you can check out eBay, but make sure to compare the prices. Both of the brands, they sell their watercolors in sets of 12, 24, 36, up to 72 colors. When you look at the inner side of the cardboard box, there is a table and there are some empty boxes, so you can use the pins to create some color swatches here. For a set like this with 12 colors, you can actually still recognize the colors just by looking at them. However, if you have a lot of colors, then it will be more convenient to refer to a color chart. For example, in this case here, there are 18 colors. Some of the colors, they look quite similar, especially the reds. And these dark colors are very difficult to differentiate against one another. So this is when you will need a color swatch. Let's take a look at the box for Kissho Gansai. So inside the box there are some pieces of paper. This one lists the colors that are in the box. I have already rearranged the colors, but I do recommend that you tear out the stickers and stick them to the side of the pen so that you can identify them. Anyway, it comes with the color code, which is a number, and also the name of the color, which is in Japanese words. So if you need the English name for the color, you can go online and match the numbers. For the color codes for Kissho and Kuretake, they are actually different. So if you look at this number here, this is a number 10, which refers to a white from Kuretake. But a number 10 from the Kissho set is actually this Venetia red looking like color. Let me put this plastic cover onto the Kuretake set, close it. Now I'm going to show you some color swatches from the Kissho Gansai set. Right now I'm using the white, so let me just try and color swatch over the lines to let you see whether or not they are transparent. This is yellow, sort of like a lemon yellow like color. There is only one yellow in this particular set. The one on the right side is a yellow ochre like color. This is yellow ochre. It looks quite transparent, is it? No, it's semi-opaque or semi-transparent. Next is this color that is like a Venetia red or burnt sienna. This is an earth tone. And the color on the top right corner, this looks like this is black. Now for this color, this is purple, I think. So now you can see that the colors are actually quite intense. I managed to pick up a lot of pigment because the pen sizes are so large. I can put in a brush like this. This is a size 6 brush and pick up a lot of pigment. So if you are using a size 8 or size 10 brush, I think there's no problem fitting the whole brush into the pen. This looks like a phthalo blue to me. And this color is some sort of a pastel-like blue. I'm pretty sure this is going to be opaque. It looks very opaque because I can see that the colors are covering the texture of the paper. So if you're going to be mixing these colors with other color, I mean this specific color, your resulting mixture is going to become more opaque and become pastel-like. The next color looks like an ultramarine. You can see that there are some granulation going on. And this color here, I'm not sure what this is. I cannot identify that. Oh, it looks like a Payne's gray. So there are 3 blues in this 18 half pen set for the Kissho. Next I will move on to the red. Let me start with this red first. And now the second red on the right side, you can see that these 2 reds are so close to each other. I'm not able to tell what colors they are just by looking at them. This looks like a much warmer red and this is a cooler red. Now let's try the third red. This is also a cool red. This is more like alizarin crimson, I would say. And this last red here looks like a pink or rose to me. It does look like some rose color, and this reminds me, I wasn't able to find any lightfast information on their website, so you have to use these watercolors with caution because I don't know when their colors will fade. Now this green color is a yellow green, a very bright yellow green. It looks quite nice. And this color here looks like a phthalo green, or is it a viridian green? I'm not too sure. This looks like a sap green or hooker's green. And the last color here looks like a pastel-like green color. So this is probably going to be quite opaque as well. These color swatches from Kissho Gansai are almost dry. I do feel that they are vibrant, but there is this softness that I would associate with pastel-like colors. Also, another characteristic for Kissho Gansai are these sharp edges. Let me zoom in closer. For Kissho Gansai, I find that there is a tendency for the colors to produce sharp edges like this. I'm not sure if it's because of the amount of water you use, the pigments, the binder, or the paper, but this is, you see this with several other colors. For example, yellow ochre here, the sharp edges. Even for this ultramarine-like color, you can see the sharp edges. So when the pins are drying, the pigment moves inside and the edges dry with a sharp, distinct edge. Even for the phthalo blue like this. This is more obvious with green colors like this, so you can see here that there are obviously two different shades of color. So this is something to take note of. But if you look at Kuretake swatches, these are Kuretake swatches that I painted earlier. It is much easier to create a flat wash with Kuretake. So I use exactly the same techniques, nothing too different. I just do color swatches. And you can see that the colors, they are quite flat. They don't have the hard edges like this, even when I painted over the lines. So Kuretake, I would say, is much better if you want to get sharp edge. I think Kissho is still a bit unpredictable, especially if you don't control your paints well. Let me show you another color swatch. This is also painted with Kissho, but I use as much pigment as I can. You can still create flat washes with Kissho Gansai, you just have to be more careful. So still possible, but some of these colors, I do feel that the edges are starting to come out. However, this is not really a big issue. When I'm coloring my sketches, I don't see this sort of effects that often. Just that when I'm doing color swatches like this, they appear. So this is something to take note of. But Kuretake, no issue with that. Now I'm going to do a quick demonstration. This is a pencil sketch I sketched earlier. I'm going to be using Kissho Gansai to color this. And later on, I'm going to touch up with some color pencils because I know the watercolor is going to cover over the pencil lines. After the watercolor has dried, I went in to apply some color pencils over the wash to give it more texture and also give it more contrast, because just now the pencil lines, they were lost after I colored the watercolor over the lines. So this is how the sketch looks like right now. Let's take a look at some of the sketches that I painted with the Kissho set in Bali. For Japanese watercolors like Kuretake Gansai Tambi and Kissho Gansai, they are a bit more opaque compared to American and European watercolors. So when you mix opaque paints with opaque paints, I find that their colors, they tend to dull down more quickly, and also the colors become more pastel-like, and that is the case with this particular sketch. You can see that the colors here are more pastel-like. However, they are still usable for pen and ink watercolor, so the lines still show through, but you do have to understand your paints pretty well, because some of the colors are really opaque and the mixture is even more opaque. Later I'll show you that. For the background with this sketch, I tried to use some phthalo blue light color and mix with a bit of red. I wanted to achieve a very dark color, but I wasn't able to do that. This color here, this mixture here, still feels a bit pastel-like to me. So I wasn't really able to get very dark darks unless I use the dark black from the palette, which I don't really want to use it because it's too striking. For this particular sketch, you can see some of the colors, they have lost their transparency. Let me zoom in closer for you. For the greens here, I tried to neutralize them with some red, and as a result they became a bit more opaque. You can see the colors covering over the line art. But if you move up to this section here, you can still see the black lines showing through quite strongly. So if you compare this area here with these areas here, you can see the difference quite significantly. So overall, there is a very pastel-like look to this sketch. I wouldn't say whether or not that is a good or bad thing. It's just a style, because some people like the more subtle, the more muted pastel-like look. But if you want to achieve more vibrant watercolors, you want the intensity, then perhaps Japanese watercolors are not going to do it for you. Let me show you the difference between this and other brands. So this is Kissho Gansai, and this is Van Gogh watercolor. You can see that this definitely is more vibrant. The colors are cleaner compared to this, where the colors are more muted, more pastel-like. Let me flip to another sketch. This is colored with St. Petersburg White Nights watercolor. Same thing, the greens here are quite strong. Even the orange here is quite intense, quite clean as well. When you compare to this area here, you can see that the orange here is a bit more muted compared to these oranges. Whether or not you get hard edges with Kissho Gansai also depends on the paper you use. For example, I painted these color swatches on Swatches cold press paper. The grain texture on this paper is much finer. I don't see any hard edges at all. Also, just now I showed you my sketchbooks. There are no such hard edges. So it really depends on the paper and also how much water you use. But generally speaking, when you are sketching, when you are painting, this is not really too much of an issue. Just that when I'm painting color swatches, that effect is more pronounced. I think that's all for my video review today. If you like the white palette box, you can go for Kissho Gansai, because I think this box is not sold by Kuretake. If you want colors that are easier to mix into flat washes, then go for Kuretake. If you have any other questions, feel free to post them in the comment section just right below. I will also post a link to my text review. On the text review, there are some scans. You can look at them at higher resolution. That's all. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video, and remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so. Bye!